Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Proving Grounds. That was the Perry Bear to be scared of in all the nightmares of Team Liquid Honda Academy. My goodness, I don't know if it was even Gamsu that time. The whole Dignitas Academy squad is the nightmare of Team Liquid Honda Academy. But in all actuality, we got a little bit of queue time here before we get to the nitty-gritty of that first game. So I want to have a little bit of fun with you guys to maybe reminisce a little bit about that Dignitas Academy win. So we've got another episode of Speed Run here where I have chosen 2 clips. I'm going to have one of you blindfolded and one of you describing the clip. Nice. Now, as the clip plays, you're going to have to be very general as possible. No very specific descriptors or anything like that. Playing. Yeah, well, hey, I guess you're going to have to find out something. So, as is tradition, we need the blindfold on. Rafa, I'm going to have you blindfolded first. So go ahead and put on that blindfold now. Let's see what
I legit.
Not allowed. Not allowed. Nope. You will be disqualified.
I was. Shout outs to Age of Empires 2 because I played it way too much when I was 5 years old and I, blinded myself at the age of 5.
All right. There you go. All right, we did make sure. Hey, shapes, everything, colors. You never know. All right, so I want to go ahead and bring up the first clip that we have now. Joshi, again, descriptors as general as possible. I'm gonna need you to walk Rafa through this one. So let's go ahead and roll the clip, and Joshi, you're on.
And one at a time, gonna come towards Big Worm and get picked off one by one. Every single player.
Leo and Harry trying to enter Baron Pit after Bradley got picked off. Dignitas had just teleported Insanity over in, and so Insanity comes back around. They pick off Harry and Armeo in the blue quadrant jungle.
Dang, Rafa! Oh, go get him, King! Go get him! Dang!
Really good.
That was literally spot on. I love it. Yep. All right, you can unblind yourself.
Josh knew there's only one moment of the game where all of them filed one by one into the Baron Pit, and it was
to be fair, there was 2 of them. So
there was 2. There was a couple. The conga line. I love it. Let's go ahead and bring that clip up and show Rafa exactly what he just called out without having to see it. So I don't know. Maybe you just have blind sight or something.
Ooh. I mean, we gotta take a look once again, right? Because it's there's one at a time can't come into the fight. There's no way they can ever leave because they're so fast, right? Dignitas just runs every single one of them down, and this was kind of the big problem that they had, right? How do you ever kill Renekton and Volibear with Senna and I think it was Crown? Yeah, it was Crown of the Shadow Queen, Orianna. Who's killing tanks?
Yeah.
They'll survive, but yeah. So hey, nice memory there, Rafa. Just saying, good stuff. Some memorable moments at least. Now I want to go ahead and get Sir Joshi to blindfold himself. I don't remember what. Oh, never mind. We need your disclaimer. Here, I'll give you the stage.
I always have to let people know because I've had people harass me and tell me that I don't get it. Why are you just wearing glasses? But we got these coming through, and I cannot see through them whatsoever. They are pitch black because I can do this.
I love it every single time. Now you just need to get the Doctor Strange ring and just have it both going at the same time. We'll see if we can mind control some people. Anyways, we do have our second clip ready to go. So let's go ahead and bring it up again. Rafa, as little specific descriptors as possible. I need you to go ahead and roll the clip. And Rafa, it's your time.
Frog, question mark, frog, question mark, frog, question mark. Frog, question mark.
Might be the overly obvious bait for Jan, perhaps, where he was sitting in the mid lane, and I don't know, maybe there happens to be 4 members sitting behind them, but then comes in with an Insanity flank. Ayla is forced to flash over the wall, and there's nothing left for them to do. They have no damage left.
Y'all are too good. It's exactly that. The fact that the frog question mark just sells it every single time. It was literally one of the most obvious baits I think I've ever seen, and I appreciate Team Liquid Honda Academy trying to pull that one off against Dignitas. Right, there's no other real big avenue for them, so at least you try to look for the picks. But you were spot on. So guys, you're too good at speedrun, and we can go ahead and bring that clip right back up. Just go ahead and play it for Joshi because he was spot on.
Yeah. Again, I would love to see Jan doing this exact play in the future with nobody in that bush, right? Because that's the next level bait. That's the double bluff that you got going on. It's like, well, last time I did this, there were 4 people there. Now that I'm doing it, no one's there.
Yes.
Exactly. You got to condition your opponents to make the right responses. But Insanity, right? Again, we were already talking about how Team Liquid, they were trying to make this bait happen too early. The Baron wasn't spawning for 30 seconds when Yanon actually started this play up. And, you know, if this had happened 10 seconds before the actual Baron fight, or before the actual Baron had spawned, maybe there's a chance that Team Liquid can create enough pressure. If they take this fight closer to Baron so that Insanity can't wrap around over a wall and instantly find his way into Harry and Ayla, maybe there's a chance that Team Liquid is actually able to take this fight. But when you take it out in the open and Insanity is able to just hop over a wall and take the only 2 possible damage deals you have and remove them from the equation, Dignitas are going to win that fight every single time. And so Dignitas, you know, while they had a very straightforward game plan, again, I got to give a lot of praise to David Shaw, right? He was one of the players that played for Team Liquid all those years ago when I started casting for them as well. And he was all right then, right? And then he moved up, he was playing for LCS, and he was looking, you know, he was looking all right. But suddenly, he's figured something out. Something has clicked for this guy in the second half of the summer round robin, going into Proving Grounds. And we get to see a lot more out of David, out of Insanity. And I feel as though with the performance he showed now, if he continues this through the rest of Proving Grounds, absolutely he should be looking for another opportunity to play LCS.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to dive in, though. We just have a little bit here. Joshi, is it just a draft difference? Team Liquid Honda coming out.
A little bit, yeah.
getting clapped in that game, right? Like, I want to see your thoughts on how they should kind of approach that next game and who you're really looking at to kind of step up. Is it the damage from Harry in the mid lane?
So, honestly, the player that I need to see step up, this might surprise you guys, it's Ayla. I'm going to be honest, his performance in Proving Grounds has not been up to the standards that we have set for him. I've made the claim multiple times that if we were giving out a Most Valuable Player award at the end of the Proving Grounds, it would 100% have been Ayla, the best player that we had in the Academy regular season, bar none. He was so good. But he's been making a lot more positioning mistakes when he's actually been playing in Proving Grounds. He's been going a little bit too far forward. And part of the reason why he didn't have any damage during this game was, 1, he was going Eclipse into multiple tanks, but 2, he died 4 times before they even came into the regular fights. He had more than half of his team's deaths for at least half of the game. And for somebody that we are building up as the most valuable player from Academy, that level of performance, we should not be expecting. We should be expecting a whole lot more. We should be demanding more from the player that we have prided as the next core JJ.
Yeah, exactly. And that's some of the hard-hitting questions, but we'll see if Perry and Co. can bring it to a close here. If Team Liquid Honda Academy can bring us to a 3-game series. Champ Select is ready for game number 2, so guys, take it away.
Now,
Bye, Lennon.
Bye, Len. Now, oftentimes, Josh, whenever Team Liquid Honda Academy have lost games in the past, sometimes you hear the response, we beat ourselves, you know, we lost to ourselves. Now, at some point, you know, I want to see some respect being paid where it is due towards the opponent on the other side of the rift, because what Dignitas Academy did incredibly well was recognize once again what their win conditions were, and while they were being, albeit very simple, they executed on them, and Team Liquid just could not endure the overwhelming amount of swarming that Dignitas did over and over again.
Yeah, it's like watching little kids play soccer, you know? Like, you see a ball, everybody jumps on top of it, and you can't pass to anybody because they're all sitting right in the same spot. And that's how Dignitas were able to play, and it worked out quite well. And it's interesting to me that Team Liquid thought that Yuumi was the problem and not Sivir in that last game. Well, Yuumi definitely had a lot of opportunities to enable Sivir and enable several of their champions. I feel as though they would have been just as effective without the Sivir. You know, a little bit, but effective enough even without the Yuumi. And so now Team Liquid, they first picked the Trundle last time in order to stifle Perry's jungle pool, which has been primarily Volibear and Xin Zhao thus far, and he even played the Volibear into that matchup. I think that they were probably going to have to do something about the Sivir pick. Maybe you have to pick something a little bit more aggressive, and with the Zarya off the table, which is typically a handshake into the Sivir, I feel as though it has suddenly become the best pick possible that you could grab right here, because Armeo does not have the same kind of champion pool limitations that Perry does.
And I wonder if that... Wow. Okay, so Team Liquid are opting into the trade where they... I guess Dignitas were proposing, hey, we bait giving them the Sivir so that we can guarantee that we still get Volibear for Perry, but on the flip side, it is Team Liquid saying, no, we gotta
get Perry off of the Volibear. It is providing way too simple of an executable win condition for him. We got to see what happens when he's put on a different champion. This Taliyah, still a flex pick, could go to Insanity or Perry, so no full cards fully shown yet.
It can be played by Perry, but he's not something that we've necessarily been seeing nearly as much of this kind of play from him. But if you're looking for champions that can bust through these tanks, Taliyah and Sivir are some pretty good ones, right? Taliyah doesn't have the same kind of just raw damage output that she used to, since they put more damage in just these longer trades, but Crit Sivir and Taliyah can 100% get through the Volibear. It might take them a little bit of time, but it already solves the problem that Team Liquid had going up against Perry's Volibear in the previous game. And so now Team Liquid, at the same time, they are not going to be making the same mistake. They're going into the Sivir, and the best way to beat the Sivir, beat it up in lane, right? If Sivir is allowed to just farm out the early game like it did against the Senna Yasuo, Sivir is going to be better than almost every other champion. I love this niche pick coming through for Ayla. The reason why Alistar is so good is your headbutt pulverize combo cannot be spell shield. If you spell shield the headbutt, you get hit by the pulverize. You try and wait till after the headbutt to spell shield the pulverize, well, you can't because you're still stunned already, right? So there's no way to get through it. The only thing you can do is you can try and spell shield the headbutt and then use the flash in the meantime to get yourself out. And now Dignitas, they have created something to actually deal with the pressure. They have enough tools that once Ayla actually goes in, he might just kill himself.
And for Dignitas Academy, they've rounded out this 3-man core with a Braum. The Unbreakable Shield gives you a lot of defensive tools to block incoming range damage, which to be the majority of coming from Yon so far on this Aphelios. Team Liquid still have to round out their composition, probably looking for some magic damage once again from Harry. Could also splash in from Bradley if he wants to.
True. I mean, we know that Bradley has been having a lot of success on the Akali in the second round robin in particular, but so far I feel like Dignitas is just out-drafting Team Liquid every step of the way. While this Alistar is a cool pick, it stuns itself on the worked ground that's going to be coming out, or whatever the rocks are called from Taliyah. It will very quickly get stunned by Braum when it actually jumps in. It can be interrupted by Braum's ultimate. It's actually really tough for Ayla to navigate this Alistar at this time around, and Team Liquid, this is definitely going to be a situation where I feel as though Dignitas has been doing a better job coming up with a cohesive game plan, something that they can all work on. And so Team Liquid going to be pushed a little bit more heavily into individual execution. And with that in mind, I want to see Harry on something that can actually carry a little bit more. Something like the Yone, the Silas, which are champions I don't necessarily think of him as being the best players of, but something that gives him a little bit more agency to navigate around the fights.
I mean, if we call back to last summer, where he was insanely performing on things like Lee Sin and Akali.
True.
Melee champions and assassins were his bread and butter during the last summer iteration of the regular season and Proving Grounds. Dignitas on the flip side, look at the landscape of champions to pick for Perry and say, you know what? Let's make sure that Insanity takes the Taliyah. We'll take the Trundle matchup into the Volibear. You still have tools to play around. It's not as, easy to dive with the Trundle, but you can still look for early game plays if you want to.
Yeah, and it's definitely an opportunity for him to kind of flip the script on Armeo a little bit, right? The Volibear falls off a little bit faster than, okay. This is a bold champion coming out from Harry because it's outranged, right? This is something where he needs to get in, and he 100% has the damage to chew through the front line to blow up the back line, but he has to get there, right? And he's going to be needs to get underneath the boomerang blades and the worked ground and all the rocks that Insanity is going to be creating, and also these melee champions. And so Harry, this is one of the champions that he was so good at throughout his career, and now he really needs to perform on it. Team Liquid also going to be giving Bradley the Fiora, and it's got a great matchup into the Sejuani if it gets locked, but they're giving their solo laners a ton of agency. They are putting their faith in Bradley and Harry right now to actually try and carry the game, and this is going to be a rough spot for Team Liquid because it has to be these solo laners who are going to step up. Or, I suppose, if Yon and Ayla just pop off against Neo and JJ, they can also win it, but they don't have as much tools in order to just push around the bottom lane of Dignitas. And so Team Liquid, again, I like Dignitas' draft better. They have a more cohesive game plan. You have a very strong power base in the back line, and you don't need to do anything fancy.
Yeah, and I'm curious if actually Team Liquid are putting themselves on a timer with when Armeo needs to strike on the map. We know that Armeo is exceptional when it comes to controlling the map and diffusing early game volatility from the opponent team and the opponent jungler. But when you look at how the landscape of the fights are going to play out, your engage tools is Alistar, and that is not enough when you are having to play through Unraveled Earth from Talia, the zone control with Pillar, and you have to get through Sivir, Talia, and then if you're also walking through a corridor when Call of the Forge God is still available, your effective engage is outranged. And so now I'm wondering if Team Liquid Honda are saying, you know what, we can smash the solo lanes if Armeo gives us a little help in the beginning. You know, Bradley, if he gets snowballed, he can take over this lane. If Yawn snowballs, he can take over this lane as well. So yeah, I imagine that Team Liquid Honda, as we're loading up on the Rift for Game 2, it's all going to be about flipping the script and speeding up the tempo from Armeo and ramping up the volatility in the first few minutes of the game.
Yeah, and we gotta say, Ayla, Bill Wynn, one of my favorite players to have been casting so far in Summer. And the thing I'll say about him is he might be the best Enchanter player we have in North America, including LCS supports. The guy is fantastic on Renata, on Lulu, on... his Senna left a little bit to be desired last game, but in general, his Senna so far has been very strong. His engaged supports are not bad, but we haven't been seeing nearly as many of them being played by Ayla so far here in Summer. And the one time he did play Alistar, he has come up with some freak flanks, right? He has been so good at controlling vision and forcing people to face check him and going into these picks. But it's something we haven't been seeing from him nearly as often, whereas the Braum, you just sit back. I mean, you can be aggressive on this champion, but it's also very much okay. It's why even Cubby was able to be the #1 Braum in A.
Damn, was that like a backhanded compliment? Or what? Hold up now. We can't just... Man, Cubby's watching this.
Cubby's watching, like, what is this guy saying? This guy can't even get diamond again.
Cubby just woke up after doing double duty of casting Academy yesterday, or not doing Academy, but doing LCK and watching Academy yesterday as well. Let the man live. Let him go back to sleep.
Yeah, gotta let him take his big bear nap. And now Ayla sitting here, he'll get the double pulverize, get a little bit of damage, but they now know the red buff has been taken away, and Armeo will have to try and find a way back in. Uh-oh, did Yan and Ayla miss the first melee?
I have no idea, Josh. I was paying attention to the top side of the map, seeing what Armeo can do. Ooh.
Okay, well that means JJ and Neo also missed at least the first melee because they were farther away, but suddenly all the checkpoints that you often know as a bottom lane in terms of what minion you level up on is going to be like a little screwed up, and so we have to make sure that everybody can count. You gotta count to 9 when you're in the bottom lane, whereas in the solo lanes you generally need to count to 7 in order to get the correct level up timer, and so that could make some kind of silly things happen in the bottom lane if people don't know what minion they level up on. They're good, though. They're already level 2.
Okay. Chaos has been resolved. All the drama is good in the world. Armeo looking for this crab spawning, but it's going to be quite a while. He's actually invading on the bottom side of the jungle. Could always loop around since Insanity is insanely pushed on up. Armeo, though, does not have enough time to get this invade successful off, at least to be able to counter jungle a bit. Will be spotted by Insanity and Perry doubling back to the jungle. Armeo's going to look for another invade timer, but this will just delay it. I don't know if he can actually joink this away. He has Smite.
It's a Smite fight. Right. Neither bot lane is really able to move here, and I think Armeo... I mean, it's still a Smite fight. It's still a Smite fight.
Oh my god! Wait. Perry got it!
That's rough.
Thanks for the leash, question mark. But Perry will be forced off the ground. They have the pushing wave. Yawn, or Harry looking for the all-in onto Insanity. Not quite enough damage here, but it is a ghost force out of Insanity. Now we have a scrap. We're flipping. Potentially. I don't know who got the Gromp on the backside of that.
It's still alive.
Oh my god. This game is nuts, Josh.
I love it. I love it. Team Liquid, we knew that they had to try and do something. He stops the back a little bit as well, but Yan and Ayla pushing up, trying to create some space for Armeo. Armeo will get a little bit out of it, right? They got the Gromp, they got the bottom side Scuttle Crab, and he can go back into his own jungle. So he's a little bit ahead on tempo, but he actually needs to go clear out all the minions.
Neo, but great shield from JJ, blocking any damage from Yawn, trying to maximize the trade set up by Ayla. Rest of Dignitas, you know, just doing just fine, chilling in the bottom side of the map. CS lead going over to Jan so far, but with Perry being able to defend his blue buff from being taken by Armeo, he's now circling towards the top side of the map. Bradley's pushed up. I don't know if there's necessarily a gank angle for Perry or if he's even interested in ganking for the Ornn, but it's just making sure that he can protect Gamsu from getting dove. Ooh, insanity.
Lots of trading happening on the map, and here comes Armeo down here in the bottom lane. Flash headbutt.
Neo has both sums, JJ has both sums. Just gonna force them off the minion wave here, force Neo and JJ to miss out on both XP and gold as the minion wave is crashing into the tower. Perry is forced to lumber all the way from the top side of the map so that Neo and JJ are not completely crippled out of gold. Armeo might be forced to flash over the wall. Yep.
There they go. I mean, he knows that Perry is around. He ends up going the wrong direction, has to blow his flash, but they did finally see some opportunity, right? And so far, Team Liquid, their lanes have been looking quite a bit better. Although Harry did have the one mishap and did have to flash. Big lead coming out from Bradley. A big lead coming out from Jan and Ayla. With no kills on the board already, 600 gold ahead. And the game has not been won by any means just quite yet, but this is a bigger lead than they had in the previous game coming out from Team Liquid. And they are trying to force Dignitas into positions to actually fight them, but they feel a little bit more hesitant to me than they often have, right? Team Liquid, they're doing the right steps and going forward, but we haven't necessarily seen them just go balls to the wall and just take the fight straight up. They are still allowing Dignitas to have a little bit more pressure than we've often seen Team Liquid in the past.
And it doesn't seem like it is the outright most
no
confident
flash.
and nice look from Perry, trying to play off the fact that Harry doesn't have flash. Seismic Shove until Unraveled Earth gets a little bit of damage, but not enough CC. And now Perry is being turned around.
Let's go!
Ayla was there. Perry flashing away, but it's the Ignite that ticks down. Ayla claims first blood. And look at Team Liquid pressuring on this play, matching the 3v3, almost taking out JJ on the flip side as well.
Great play coming out from Harry. We said that he selected this Cassiopeia. He needs to get under the guns, and he recognizes he has the damage to walk up. I was worried that he was going to die in this play, but Team Liquid said, no, I just hit level 6. I have an opportunity to go forward. And because Ayla is here, is able to create space, as soon as Insanity's Q is down, he doesn't have any damage left to put out, right? He needs to wait 7-8 seconds in order to throw out another Q. And even though we have JJ in the way to block, that doesn't block Petrifying Gaze. They're able to take him down and create so much pressure. This is the Harry we've been looking for this entire time, able to make all of these different plays. And so far, he's living up to what he needs to do.
Jan going back with the frog, question mark. The question frog, the classic. And surprising to me that Team Liquid, you know, threw what we saw 2-3 pressure point plays to try and see if they could get an unforced or a forced error out of Dignitas in those skirmishes. And the one time Dignitas do get punished is a play that they enact on themselves. And so you see the reason why both of these teams are always so hesitant to fully commit onto a play, because they don't want to be the one that ends up giving too much because they overextended.
Yeah, I also really like that from Jan, right? I go back to something that Smacks, who was casting yesterday, said about something that Aframu said. And he was saying that the way you win Enchanters versus melee engage supports is you walk up, you dodge a skill shot, and you auto them twice. And that's kind of what Jan is doing, right? He just walks up to JJ, says, I will dodge your Q, and then he autos him once, right? And that's just one of these small things that you have to have the confidence to do in order to make. There's not a lot of AD carries in the Academy system who will make that kind of play, and it's a very small thing where they just walk up and try and take the trade. But that's something that Jan has developed so far over the course of summer. He's been looking way more aggressive, and it's been paying off. He has extended the lead that Armeo and Ayla gave him by pushing Neo and JJ off the turret, and now, for potentially like that first time, this does not happen very often, he's walking into the mid lane to make sure that Team Liquid are not contested for this first Rift Herald, and an effective kill goes over to Armeo and Bradley.
And while this does deny some resources away from Jan, it ensures that the overall net gold play goes well for Team Liquid Academy. This does give tempo over to Dignitas to start up the Dragon. They don't have any resources on the side of Team Liquid to contest, so it's a handshake of objectives on the board. But as I say that...
Yeah. I mean, Team Liquid, if they were trying to contest that, that's what we often talk about in terms of tempo on the map is... Okay, Bradley shouldn't be able to go for Gamsu, but you know, not Team Liquid, League of Legends often, nice play coming out from Bradley with the, sorry, I'm just very distracted by all the things going on top lane. That's why we often talk about League of Legends as kind of being a turn-based game, right? Because Team Liquid committed so much of their time towards the top side, they don't have as much time to necessarily go for the dragon. Jan really wanted to catch the bottom lane wave as it came in, but Team Liquid had Armeo, Ayla, and Harry move in to contest the dragon without Jan. They were expending extra tempo, they were trying to spend extra time. They lost a little bit of gold for it, right? They lost some minions to the turrets, but by going for that kind of play, they make sure that Dignitas is not comfortable going for the dragon, and Team Liquid are able to go back and recover it a little bit later after dropping another wave or two in order to pick up the dragon. This is where Team Liquid oftentimes finds a lot of their advantages. They understand when they can play forward, when they can give up small bits of gold in order to make these plays happen in ways that a lot of other teams haven't been able to match.
And so far, it has netted them, like we said, albeit the first blood that we saw from the mid scrap that we a few minutes ago. It is a solid 1,000 to 1.5k gold lead for the side of Team Liquid. Most of it built up on laning advantage, but also just map advantages that, as a 5-man cohesive unit, is pushing and pulling to make sure that it is organically being created for them.
So Team Liquid, you know, picking up this first dragon helps out quite a bit, right? After the 12-14, I think it was 12-14, maybe 12-13 patch where the dragons became more valuable, right? You get more stats coming out of them every single time. This mountain dragon, you can actually feel it a lot of the time when you go for these plays. And the ocean dragon, while it's, you know, it's also got the same amount of buff, it will allow them to stay on the map a little bit longer if they can get it. But Team Liquid, very comfortable so far with their play. They're trying to make things happen, and look at this. Armeo and Ayla once again countering AJ and Perry.
Yeah. Pillar, baby. It's that easy to be able to get away from a fight. Armeo runs at them menacingly, but he can't get in range because he does not want to use his ultimates just for a river skirmish where Dignitas can still easily disengage, just threatening them off their territory, you know, just like, get off. This is our side of the map.
It's just running at them menacingly. Not able to actually make anything happen, though. And Team Liquid, though, let's go back to the stakes that we were talking about at the beginning of the day, Mark. The winner of this series is going to be playing in the LCS studio in a couple of weeks for the top 4 that is going to be coming out for Proving Grounds. And Team Liquid, they expect to not just be in the top 4, they expect to be in finals, they expect to win the whole thing. The performance that they gave us in Game 1 and the draft that they gave us is not the draft that they need to do, but they were in a similar position to this spot last game as well, around the 12-minute mark. They had a very similar lead, and now they're trying to blow it open, but there's a 4v4 potentially coming around here, and Team Liquid don't want to take that kind of fight.
Perry shows himself Insanity, also comes in Vision. Next, Rift Herald crashes, but it doesn't take out the turret quite yet. Team Liquid want to be able to go for it, and Armeo expends the Stormbreaker, so the shots don't come from the turret anymore. Insanity burning down to the Ignite. It trades out onto Armeo, but it's a 1-for-1 so far. JJ forced the flash, and Harry is expending so much damage through the Twin Fangs, and the pressure alone forces them off the turret, and they net first brick.
And even though it's that classic Team Liquid story, the number of kills is basically even, but they're up 2,000 gold, they're creating more pressure. JJ barely getting out with his life. Team Liquid just out-handsing people in this upcoming fight. And so far, Dignitas, they need to find a way to actually challenge this once again, but they have a lot of scaling tools on their side. And the biggest thing I look at here is Jan. This flash, super crucial, dodges out on the Glacial Fissure, allows him to hit this entire time, and the amount of damage he gets off immediately by throwing out the flamethrower into the rest of the team, doesn't get blocked by Braum, is able to hit every single person. Sandy ends up going down, but this turret is so low. Team Liquid know they can re-engage on the fight immediately after it, even if just to pick up the structure.
Much better look from Team Liquid going into the mid-game this time around. It did take them being a little bit more proactive than we saw in the first game, but this is how they make their stride into the mid-game, as we have seen throughout summer, throughout spring, which is what made them Proving Grounds champions back in 2022, earlier this year. And now Team Liquid, the next objective on the board is that Ocean Dragon coming up in the next minute. It does not put any team close to Soul Point. It would be the second dragon for Team Liquid or the first one for Dignitas. So pressure for Dignitas so far. It's only Bradley that is on the bottom side of the map at the moment.
Oh. Is Gumshoe ult here? He thought about it. He's doing it.
And now he's confirmed. He knows that Jan doesn't have flash. Glacial Fissure lands true onto the backline, but Neo was not in position. And now Bradley comes in with a teleport, and this throws a wrench in Dignitas' plans. JJ completely isolated from the rest of this core squad, and no one can step up through the miasma. Harry has them sectioned off, and with the Rift Herald spawning very soon, and the Dragon coming up next, I wonder if Team Liquid can take both objectives in one fell swoop.
That's a huge play coming through, right? Jan with no flash. Dignitas thinks that they can attack him, but they're not able to get to him with all of their members. Dignitas, they lose so much pressure because Insanity's ult was not up. He was not in a position to actually fight for the objective. And now, as you said, the Rift Herald goes down. This is a lot of gold going to get picked up right now for Team Liquid. And as they rotate down towards the bottom half of the map, they can try and play for that as well, but everybody going to be backing away, and so we will still see a fight. But Mark, 3-1, 4,000 gold lead coming out for Team Liquid. This is how Team Liquid beat so many teams. They just have these advantages. Now they just need to confirm that they have set themselves up for success. And JJ, I don't know if you want to be there.
Oh, he has Unbreakable Shield, so he'll block the damage, and at least it stalls out Jan and Ayla from being able to recall. But if parry shows on this control ward, I mean, that Dragon is confirmed free, but Armeo wants to use this pressure to look for Insanity. He knows he doesn't have flash or ghost from the fight beforehand, already burning it. Trying to run him down. Parry on the collapse. And it looks like Insanity does get out alive.
A lot of damage going on to both Armeo and Insanity, but pushing Insanity to the other side of the Rift does mean that Team Liquid are in prime position to pick up this next Dragon. You're going to be able to start hitting it, and Dignitas, they still have Jan up in the top side to catch a lot of this wave. Bradley has still been winning the split going up against Gamsu, and it's small incremental advantages that are going towards Team Liquid. The second Dragon, again, very similar position to a lot of things we saw last time. The Dignitas came alive at the right time.
Good pillar. Jan has nowhere else to run. Still
He's
no
taking,
flash, but he is doing so well in the 1v3. Buys enough time so that Ayla and Harry can collapse on through, and the dive is just completely botched. Throw out the frog question mark one more time.
Yo, I thought it was Gamsu's the one who was going to be getting hit by all those kind of dives where they just turn around. But this time it's Jan. He throws out the ultimate. JJ's tanking. He just dies to the turret basically all by itself. And now Team Liquid, they extend their lead. They get another Dragon. And this was supposed to be Dignitas' tempo play. They had time on the map because they weren't devoting members to the Dragon. They weren't devoting members to the rest of the map. They had so many people here. And Team Liquid, they counteracted with one button. Team Liquid, they just have Jan. He sits here. He presses R. He locks JJ underneath the turret, and he just outplays them super, super cleanly. It's one of the few times you actually want to get hit by this ability from JJ, because look at this. He doesn't get auto-attacked again. He just dies to the turret.
Damn, Jan. Oh. Dude, it looked like he was dabbing under tower. That's good emote usage. I mean, Jan is one of the few players in the entire Proving Grounds ecosystem that has strong emo game. I think APA is another one that has really good emo game. Always like will take the time to like look at his opponents like, okay, who's on which team? Oh, this guy used to play in LCS on this team. Oh, I'm gonna use this emo then.
There is Flash.
Okay, you know, once, twice, maybe 3 times an attempt onto the top side of the map, but Harry still has flash and a ghost to work with. Pillar comes out, and Harry not even needing to press the NOS button because he just gets to slither away. Ayla is coming in for reinforcements, and he's just zoning them off.
Yeah, he's creating a lot of pressure, right? Harry has the damage to win this. It's all about whether or not he can find the space, but just as in the mid lane, they're going to be crashing a Rift Herald, and one auto attack takes a quarter of Neo's health away. They're crashing it into the second turret, and this is where Team Liquid, they look so good. Sometimes you don't need to out-hands people, you just need to out-macro them, and as Jan builds up a bunch of chakras, going to be stealing away more Raptors, and there you go, Jan picking up the big one as well. Small incremental leads are building up for the side of Team Liquid, but they're still, Mark, they're still running into a position where they're at risk of getting outscaled. With all this gold, it doesn't solve a lot of the compositional problems that they have. They need to continue making plays.
Seismic Shove Unraveled Earth finds Ayla, gets about half of his HP down. Armeo locked under this pillar right here. A teleport comes in. I don't know if you... oh, no. That was not the teleport you wanted, my friend. Dignitas now on the run, while Neo is still fully alive and healthy. He does not have the damage to be able to 1v3 Team Liquid in this jungle.
Yeah, Gamsu just teleporting in, instantly dies into 4 members. Again, that's something that we saw Bradley doing, but Bradley has not been doing that at all in the second half of the round robin. We've been seeing how much he's grown with a lot of his teleports, but Team Liquid, they take a play that Dignitas are trying to make, they counteract it. This is more classic Team Liquid that we've been seeing. But they're going up against Ornn, they're going up against Braum, they're going up against Trundle, and they have to be able to get to Talia and Sivir. Remember, at some point, Team Liquid should be forced to fight Dignitas underneath at least one turret. So Team Liquid, they want to pick up this next dragon. They want to force Dignitas to come out of their base in order to take a lot of these fights. And so far, you know, to his credit, the player that needs to set up a lot of these plays for Team Liquid, Ayla, he's having a much better game. He hasn't died yet.
Yeah, we talked about the limited amount of gauge that Team Liquid had in terms of tools versus Dignitas' swath of engage, and how dangerous it could be to walk into a corridor, to walk into close corridors, and for Dignitas to just be able to just route you off. The fact that Team Liquid are managing to overcome that, truly remarkable. And we have another dragon coming up in the next minute and a half. Baron is spawned live. Dignitas are circled on the top side of the map because they know that Team Liquid could look for a Baron play, and it's just an immediate flash on Insanity. Enough damage from Harry, the poison burning down, just one more, but Insanity forced to use the stopwatch. Yon, does he find the Moonlight Visual over the wall? He's just looking for the Equilibrium Q. Another damage, but he just finds Neo instead and flashes on him. No marksman available for Dignitas, no mage available for Dignitas either, and Team Liquid, if they wanted, they could just look for the Baron.
I think they should. They have a Cassiopeia, they have a Fearless, they have so much damage, and as Perry backs away, he ends up sticking around. He's going to have to try and go for a smite, but he will have to flash the wall. There's no blast cone. They have no vision. They have no way to get it. This will have to be blind from Perry, and he can't do it.
Yep, Ayla is the bouncer. He's not letting Perry into the club at all.
Sorry, Perry, you're a rookie. Only veterans are allowed to steal from Armeo.
We're on the same wavelength. I'm happy about that.
But here we go. I mean, this is the kind of play that when Team Liquid are feeling their best, that they will try and go for every single time, right? And if not for the seismic shove from Insanity, he definitely would have died here. But Team Liquid, watch the number of flashes forward they end up going for here. Yon finding Neo, the spell shield comes out a little bit too late. Ayla flashing in as well to get the last bit of damage on Insanity. Armeo flashing forward. Every single one recognizes, hey, we have more friends here than you do. We're going to take a fight even if it's under turret. And as a third dragon gets picked up for Team Liquid, they are poised to take us to a Game 3. Game's not over. The Dignitas, they are up against the wall, and it's on Team Liquid to mess up, and it really is on Dignitas to mount a strong defense. They would have to make some brilliant plays to outplay Team Liquid from this position, and so far, their game plan last game and this game were very simple. It doesn't necessarily leave the same kind of room for huge opportunities, but the one player who can do it is Insanity.
Insanity has to find the spell rotation onto Yon. Doesn't have flash. Okay, that's the stopwatch from Romeo. It's okay. You know, Yon also questioning what the jungler was doing, but it's okay. You know, sometimes you just flash the stopwatch. It happens. Heat of the moment. Nerves just making sure that we are closing out the game well. It might not even be necessary. And our Team Liquid Academy making the Baron wave push onto this bottom wave turret.
Yeah, and this is the tough part for Team Liquid, right? They are in a spot where the top lane turret is still standing. They have to try and pick these up. The wave clear is it's Sivir Talia. They're able to do a lot of damage, and while the turrets are still taking chip, over the course of a Baron buff, it won't take enough chip to actually go down unless you can get multiple cannons hitting the same structure at the same time, and Team Liquid will not be able to make that happen. If they want to pick up this turret, they're probably going to have to die.
Well, Armeo's got a wonderful button to do that, Josh. You can just disable the turret if they need to, but they have the minion wave here. He finally goes in, disables the turret, but it's a huge knockup from Gamso into the backline. It stalls out the damage. Yon forced to use his own stopwatch as well. He's getting dove by both Perry and Gamsu, and he's left to the wolves. But Yon says, all right, guys, you took me out, but can you defeat the rest of my team? Because it's now 4-on-2, and they have a minion wave to play in through the bottom lane.
This could be
and
it.
They can just look to end the game, because Perry and Gamsu, no effective wave clear against Baron wave minions, and not enough damage to deal with a 4-man squad.
And this could be it. Team Liquid trying to take us to a Game 3. They're already pushing in. Gamsu, can you survive this dive?
2-man knockup. Stopwatch from Gamsu as well goes golden, but Team Liquid don't care. They just go for the objective. They go for the turret. And they deal with Perry, Pat the KDS one more time before the spawn comes out from Neo and the rest of Dignitas' squad. We're going to Game 3, Josh. Team Liquid Academy show a much better Game 2. And now we're at series point for both teams.
And it feels like we're in a very similar position to where Team Liquid were up against Evil Geniuses last week. Game 3 coming through, but it was a different situation, right? Game 1, Team Liquid beat EG. Game 2, EG nearly perfect game them back. And this was fairly similar, right? Team Liquid got thrashed in Game 1, but it wasn't quite a perfect game, but it was the kind of clean game we often are used to seeing from Team Liquid. That's how they get their wins. That's when they look their best. And the read on how to switch things up in order to play a little bit more towards the bottom side, to push Neo and JJ away from the turret at the very beginning, giving them the leads that they need to. And as you said later on, they turned around almost every single play that Dignitas was going for. This is Team Liquid at their best. This is a Team Liquid that should be in LCS already.
You saw the Joshi graphic at the top of the day, and if you didn't, please put it on socials. I think check out the socials. I'm pretty sure it's already there. But
At Path to LCS.
On the flip side, we're going to be taking a break, and when we come back, it'll be Q time with Mazel as we head into Game 3 of this series.
I mean, there's a lot of great opponents in the Academy League, as we all know. I recently played 100 Thieves in C9 who are below us in the standings. It was a tough challenge to defeat them, except it really wasn't. They were quite bad. We weren't even playing that well. But yeah, it will be fun to play them. They have like 2 hyped up junglers who I think I'll be taking down quite easily in Proving Grounds, to be honest. It was pretty clean in our matches. They seem to be like confused on what to play versus me, champion-wise. So it's usually, my champion's usually just 10 times more useful, and I just play my game, and it's a free win. The biggest opponent I want to play is Tomio in Proving Grounds. I dodged him once in Proving Grounds. He's dodged me twice due to his team's failures. But I hope to play him because, we're boys and it'll be a fun match.